We became one people. They said their mixing is to be prevented. Nevertheless, we gathered on the open Oklahoma plains. We married in the deep Minnesota snows. We became Afro-Indigenous. We became one people. They said, between the races, we cannot dig too deep a gulf. Nevertheless, we fought together in Florida swampland. We stood with Cuero against injustice in Mexico. We became Afro-Indigenous. We became one people. We saw each other as the same through the fingerprint called human being and through the lens of struggle in Pueblo plazas, in Carolina forests, and Brazilian jungles. We became Afro-Indigenous. We are one people.
Hi guys, welcome back to In Her Element. My name is Sierra. Welcome back if you're new here, baby. But it should be welcome back. But this is the first episode of In Her Element, and I'm so excited because this is a very special one because this year I'm setting the tone, okay? This is the first episode of In Her Element, and baby, this is setting the tone. I don't give a damn, okay, what anybody say, okay? I'm setting the tone, so just know I'm coming, okay? This year, okay, expect just episodes, okay? Okay. But anyway, y'all, so let's just get right into it. Like, if you're already watching on YouTube, you already know I have a wonderful guest here, but I gotta run y'all this little intro because you already know how to go with me, so nothing's gonna change. But y'all, the first of the year has really been interesting. Like, it's really been interesting. Like, how has your year been? Okay.
Busy as hell.
Busy and
trying to rest.
Okay, I know that's right. But y'all, mine has been eventful, and we're gonna get into that on the Patreon as well as when I'm by myself, because this is business, because I'm already not even doing my business right. But the woman that I have next to me is just someone that is very special in my life. I actually crossed paths with her, when I was very much on my own inner personal spiritual journey. And, she has really, came into my life and really, done some things, changed my mind about some things, and just opened my mind and just helped me along this spiritual awakening journey that you can say that I'm on, that I'm still trucking on. So I just want to say shout outs to her because I'm definitely much in my soft girl era right now. I'm definitely, letting God do all things above me and just, trying to stay in my own lane, in my own zone, just trying to be as soft as possible and not let none bother me. Just float like a feather is what I'm trying to do right now. So I appreciate you being here with me. Dominique Daye Hunter is sitting here with me today.
Yeah,
I appreciate you sitting here with me today. She is an Afro-Indigenous storyteller as well as an artist, as well as the illustrator of this beautiful book called Seeds. This is upside down, but Seeds. Yes, Seeds. The stories of Afro-Indigenous resilience. So thank you so much for joining me, sis, because I appreciate you coming, because I know you didn't have to. So thank you for spending some time with me.
It's an honor to be here. In Her Element is one of my favorite podcasts, and you give me direction too, okay? So you be checking me, but in a loving way, not even knowing it. Okay, so I'm stoked to be here.
Okay, I'm glad that she said it in a loving way. Just know that it's all love for me, baby. I'm all love. It's all loving because I've been through it too. So it's all love all the time, and the only reason you're sitting here is because I got a lot of love for you. So thank you so much for just, like I said, spending your time with me, because I know that you don't have to. So I appreciate you being here with me and just enlightening me, as well as my girls that are sitting here too, because definitely we are on the woke path. So, and you are definitely a part of that. So I love for you to be here, and thank you so much. So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, without further ado, we about to get right into it. So of course, coming off the shelf is, I just wanted to talk about how I've just been, grounded and just feeling connected to myself and into myself. Like, I've been really just trying to figure out who I am as a person. What do I love? Where do I come from? Shit. Like, and I feel like if anyone has ever crossed my path in the 22 years of me living, you are the only person, not the only person, but one of the first person, I'll say, that has actually made me wake up and realize who are my ancestors? Where do I come from? Where is it? Yes, I am African American, and you can be all of that and then some. And I want to say you definitely opened my mind to that. And I'm just so excited for the girls and me to just learn more about Afro-Indigenous. That is the word of today's episode, because that's definitely, what you represent and who you are. And
right.
I wish I could say I was a part of it, but I don't know. Wait till my motherfucking ancestry.com shit come back, and then we'll figure that out.
Hey,
but
sometimes they be off, so we'll get into that too. And that's how they keep us hidden in plain sight. We'll get into it. It's erasure, colonization. What?
Ooh, purr. But I just want to say, before we get into it, thank you so much, like I said from the beginning, but I'm going to just keep saying thank you because I'm really grateful because I know that you don't have to spend time with me, sis, and thank you.
I always enjoy spending time with you since the first time. Shout out to Rock, shout out to Queens Rising and BG, Black Girl, Brown Girl Collective. That's where we met.
Yes. Go check out that episode with Rock if you haven't already. Please go check it out. Thank you so much.
Yes. This was like, oh, is anyone sitting here? I'm like, now you sitting here now. And that's how we became friends. Like straight up. We was cool after that.
Straight, like I'm telling y'all, like really crossed paths. Like I was really just trying to get out and get out of my head and just get into just out of my whole, like I was in the abyss low key. Like I was just trying to get out, and yes, like it was just out of nowhere. Like I was just, doing my thing by myself, and thank you. Yeah, it was good.
No such thing as coincidences. The universe got us, and that's why we here.
Amen. Okay. Amen. But let's get right into it. Okay. Yes. So first I want to start off with, of course, what is the definition of Afro-Indigenous? Because there's all this stuff like, over YouTube and, I've tried to research it. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really got true definition, and I haven't really asked you, and I've known you for a cool minute. Right. I haven't even asked you, but I want to know right here, right today. What is it? Please let me know and let us know, like.
Yeah. So I get a lot of questions about that. And a lot of people just in general around the topic. So some people ask, especially people who are from the motherland, who are from Africa, they ask and they assume that it means, the indigenous people of Africa, right? Like you're Afro-Indigenous. Right. So, and I can't say that it doesn't mean that because, every region has their own terms, right? Like how in South Africa, somebody would be considered like, if they're any mixture of European or any other ancestry, they're considered colored, right? Yeah. So, and so all the terms are always changing and different. So that's not exactly how I use that term, but I'm not saying it's wrong. You know what I mean? And then when it comes down to Afro-Indigenous people of Africa, I just say indigenous, whether you're from Turtle Island or you're from the Americas, or if you're from, the motherland, if you're from Africa, or really just, around the world, people are indigenous, right? It's like being connected to the land. So that's one question that I have. I'm going to get to what I feel like is a definition or how I use the term Afro-Indigenous. The second one is a little bit more there is this whole idea, that indigenous people of the Americas were originally all Black, and that through time, just kind of through colonization, they, kind of like, I guess you could say, like became like kind of like more copper skinned or brown, right? And I'm not sitting here saying there wasn't people, because there's records, I think it was like 500 years before KKK Columbus took sail, that people, it's record that their people came from China, that people came from Polynesia. So, I don't doubt that there was, people from all over the world ended up making it here. But what we don't want to do is erase indigenous cultures and people who are here just by like completely oversimplifying it, right? So how I use the term Afro-Indigenous is literally anybody who is of African American, African, and indigenous to the Americas, ancestry. Okay. So that's, terms are what you make it, right? So things change, but
we love terms over here. Okay. I get terms. Okay. But
yeah. So whether that means you have one parent who is Black and one parent that is Native American, or whether you just have a mixed ancestry of Black and indigenous ancestors, which we'll get into, because that's where a lot of the erasure happens with Afro-Indigenous people, that we've been here since colonization, and we've been mixing and kicking it.
Okay. Yes, we have. Okay. And so it's like your Afro-Indigenous culture, is that what like drove you to write Seeds, or was it like a spiritual awakening journey that you took to write Seeds?
Ooh, it was both. It was definitely both. It's Seeds, stories of Afro-Indigenous resilience, right? So of course there's stories about history and culture and resilience and colonization and trying to reclaim our cultures from that, right? And our identities and colorism, like a bunch of stuff. But there's also very personal things in there too. Talking about everything from my hair, right? Which like everything in this racialized society, which race as a biological concept is false, right? But race as a social construct is real because we deal with it every day, right? Okay. So it just depends on how you look at the book, right? For me, everything that I write about inherently is from the perspective of being Afro-Indigenous, right? Whether people see it as fitting in that stereotype or not. But there's also things about my personal journey and how that connects to my ancestors. So when you said, like, was it a personal experience? It was, and it was an ancestral experience as well. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I could get more into that.
No, definitely. Go ahead. Please elaborate. Please elaborate. Yeah.
Yeah. So 5 years ago, I wrote Seeds as a little booklet, right? 30 pages. And it was just like my
30 I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all gotta go pick up Seeds. Seeds is a book.
Yeah, it's a whole book. It is 150 pages about now. Yes, so it grew up. It grew up and glue up.
Okay.
The first edition of Seeds was 30 pages. I printed it at FedEx Kinko's because I didn't know how to write a book. You know, I didn't know the first steps, but I'm a go-getter. So after a couple of years, and I was working on my second book to be announced, but when I was doing that, I was like, no, there's something more to Seeds. Like, I really wanted to pull out those concepts. Like, what about seeds, right? Like, what else can I talk about? So when I went home, summer 2021 is really when I started connecting. Home is North Carolina for me. So I'm Saponi. I have family in relations to Okanichi Saponi. And we're from the high plains of North Carolina. So lots of lakes, lots of pine trees, and just beautiful red earth and dirt. So when I went back home, it really inspired me just being there, like on the land and in the environment and with our people and family.
Yes, good, strong black men, yes.
Yes.
Sexy, strong country black men, yes.
That's when Sierra's going to come visit.
Yes, indeed. Okay, I'm glad that you know. I'm glad you know after this. Okay, as long as you know.
You always welcome.
And I got a couple of little homies in there.
Yes, okay.
We're going to have to come see you, okay?
Yes. So yeah, that's where I got a lot of inspiration to elaborate on Seeds, to write more poetry, to really dig deep. And so the beginning of 2022, I'm like, okay, the book is finished. It was about 115, 16 pages. And every time I thought I was finished with the book, I would get a dream, or I would get a feeling, or I'd get a sign, or I'd talk to somebody, or I would read something, or whatever, whether it was history or current events or whatever. And I was like, no, this needs to get put in. And then there came a point around May or June where I was like, okay, I feel like I got everything in there, right? More dreams and more I joke around and say, my ancestors was like, you ain't gonna talk about cornbread? That's an Afro-Indigenous food. Corn comes, maize, corn is from the Americas, and Afro-Indigenous people put their whole spin on it. So barbecue is Afro-Indigenous, right? Like, yes, because of the Taino people. Yes, of Puerto Rico. The Taino people, how they used their process of grilling and barbecuing food, and then you mix that in with some spices from Africa, honey. We already know. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. If you don't, where you been?
Oh, I'm gonna come for the barbecue.
Okay, and the cornbread, and a catfish.
And the catfish. Oh, think all 2020, whatever. It don't even matter.
Yeah. So these little things, and like, what about your auntie Grandma Rabbit? Don't leave her out. What about this? What about that? So it was a little frustrating because as a very goal-orientated person, I focus in, I hone in, and I don't mind delays, but it was getting close to the wire because my release date was July 16th. So I'm like, all right, ancestors, it is June 23rd. We still got to send this to print. What are we doing? Right? So anyway, finished it up, and my company published it, right? So my Daye Hunter Designs. Okay. Yeah, we could talk about that later. But yeah, that was intentional. That was definitely intentional to self-publish. And yeah, that was the inspiration behind Seeds and where it came from. And, everything happened in divine time and reason. And we got that. I did all the formatting. I literally from start to finish, I had, shout out to my editor, Butterfly, aka Kelly Butterfly Smith. She kept me sane. Yeah, but everything else, I illustrated it and everything. So it was a journey.
But you made it, and we here.
Yes.
And baby, you see it.
Yes.
Go get you a copy, okay? Sis, go get you
why
a
you
copy.
Waiting?
Support, okay?
You need this in your life now. The lessons. Okay, 2023, we trying to glow up. We need to know who we are.
Yes, we are, sis. We are. Mm-hmm. And we are in that order. So, that goes into my next question. So who do you intend, like, your audience, is it meant? Who did you write Seeds for? Like, what reader did you want to sit in front of Seeds and be like, yeah, that's her or them or whoever?
Yeah. So that's a beautiful question, because my book release event, my press event that I had in July, a week after the book was published, was my audience, like was a representation of everything I wanted, and you were there.
Okay, Marcel, okay. I was there. Yes.
Yes. So
it was beautiful, by the way, y'all. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Still got the pics.
I wrote a blog about it, an article. So ddayhunter.com. You know what I'm saying? Go read about it. But yeah, so it was awesome because there was such a mixture of Black community, of Native community, and of Afro-Indigenous people. And it was a very small, intimate crowd, as you know, which is what I like. I mean, I'll take on a big crowd too, you know? Shout out, I do 300, 500, 600, 1,000, 3,000 people.
Selling out shows, okay?
We also like an intimate vibe. Yeah, so really my audience, I say it in the foreword, and it's still very true, is that I wrote seeds for Afro-Indigenous people and Black people and Native people, you know, and if anybody else is interested in the topic and wants to pick up a copy and get educated, that's great. And that's a great, I guess, second consequence or secondary purpose for seeds. But I didn't write it to educate white people.
I love that, sis. I love that.
Right. Because I wrote it for our healing. And everyone's going to get something different out of it, of course. And the world is big and somebody might not get nothing. But the reason I wrote it was to help us to heal and reclaim our identities and move forward in a powerful way. That's what Seeds is about.
I love that because that's definitely what my whole podcast is about. Like, It is meant for my type of woman, my Black, brown woman, my minority. I'm sorry, it is.
Yes.
But if anyone learns something, gets something from it, I love it because I love everybody in this world.
Absolutely.
I am love.
Yes.
But it's definitely for our healing. And I thank you so much for joining me and helping me along with my healing journey and my everything. So thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I want to know, why poetry? Why not like stories, like full like stories? Because I know you said you had dreams and revelations and talking to people. You could have wrote like you know how to write blogs. You're a writer. Like you could have wrote a whole book, a whole 130 page book. Like you could have wrote that, but you did poetry. Yeah, which I love. I'm a poetry gal. Okay, so
yeah. So okay, so poetry, because I've been writing poetry since I was 13, and it was the first. It was the first and only thing I had to heal. To know how to, that was my go-to to cope, going through a lot of, you know, my family violence, you know, substance abuse, things like that. So that's one of the reasons. But I also love me a short story. So the book title is a wee bit misleading. There's one short story, but there's going to be a volume 2, y'all. So don't worry. So the first one has a short story, opens with a short story that's about 5 or 6 pages. And it talks about my family, specifically my grandparents, growing up in North Carolina and growing tobacco and corn. And then the rest are poems. So what I like to say is it is a collection of short stories. Right. One is a prose format and one is a poetic format. And the other reason why I decided to go with poetry is because poetry, there's something about poems, they don't always have to rhyme, of course, but the rhythm and the harmony and the way that different people can interpret it, and it can be very direct, and it also can be very, you know, I guess you could say esoteric or abstract. Mm-hmm. So I felt like it was a good way of introducing people into that healing in a kind of more of an abstract way in some of the poems. And also, I know for me, I used to love reading when I was a kid. And going through college, I developed reading anxiety because of, you know, just chapters and chapters and chapters of just being force-fed almost like information by some professors, right? Like, go read this book over the weekend or whatever, you know? And it's like, I love reading, right? But I also feel like, you know, we should be able to absorb it in a way that makes sense so that we can actually understand and, you know, and to, you know, go forward and apply it. So, but my second volume is going to be more prose short stories. So look out for that, because Seeds 2 has already been requested. I mean, even by the ancestors, because I was having ideas after I sent it out for printing and somebody said, hey, why don't you just make a second volume? So, you know,
I know that's right. Okay. But so you do have the word resilience in your whole title. I just want to know, what does resilience mean to you? Because I'm definitely really implementing that into my life, and I feel like I know the definition of that, and I feel like I am the definition of that, and I would just love to hear like yours too, because, you know, being a Black woman, I feel like we are the definition of resilience. We have no other choice but to
do
that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, resilience, like excellence, right? Like Black excellence, brown excellence.
Okay, and this is Black girl magic, if you didn't know.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword, you know? Like you said, it's a survival tactic. So yes, we are inherently resilient and excellent, yet society also demands so much of us, you know, of people of color in comparison to non-BIPOC, you know, so that's really, it is that double-edged sword. And so that's why I wanted to use that word, because it does show both the struggle and the beauty of the resilience, right? Like not fully leaning on being resilient as the solution to liberation, right? Because rest is also very important. And I talk about that in the book. But yeah, it is. I mean, what more can you say? And I actually, with my Daye Hunter Designs clothing line, I have a design, a shirt that says resilience is in my blood, because it's wired into our DNA. And that goes back to the ancestry and the ancestors, you know. Sometimes it's not even a conscious decision to be resilient, to maintain a level of excellence or resiliency, but we do it so that we can continue to survive and thrive, you know, not just survive, but to thrive. So it's a balance. It's a balance. And I understand people who kind of shy away from the word resilience because of that. But thank you for asking that, because it's good to know. I believe in balance.
I believe in balance. Okay. We believe in balance. And I'm telling y'all, Balance Act 1, you better go listen to that. But Balance Act 2, I'm trying to get it right. Yeah. Balance is what I'm chasing. I'm chasing it like it. Or I'm letting it come to me. I'm letting it.
Yes.
We in the balance of things, and I like that. Thank you so much for that. You're absolutely beautiful. But one last question for you.
Yes.
What piece of advice would you give a reader that's going to pick up seeds tonight? Like, what would you say? Or any day? Like, what would you tell that person?
I would say that I know that sometimes, at least for myself, I get intimidated, right? I get so excited. First, I get excited when I buy a book. Then I get intimidated. Like, I have to read it, you know? And, what if I start it and then this is a great book. And that's why I wanted to introduce the reader first through mostly poetic means, because some of the poems are half a page and some of the stories are a few pages, several pages. So you can literally pick and choose. You can get, if you're a little sticky note person, you can mark where you left off, or you can mark what you read. Or I had a friend who said, they just leave it on their shelf. And then when they're asking the universe for inspiration, they just kind of ask what they need and they flip to whatever and it pops up, which is amazing, because that's how I often read, inspirational scripture books. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, creator, what do I get to see? Or I'm feeling down or whatever. And then you open it. So this is definitely a spiritual experience. So don't feel intimidated, feel loved, feel welcomed, and know that this book has open arms. It's going to hold you. Even if you got to cry or you're going to laugh, it's going to hold you. And one more thing is that my grandma, and I write about her in this book, her name was Valma Ridgway. She was a wordsmith, and she is a huge reason why I'm a writer. She died 3 months before I was born, but my mom always says that I remind my mother a lot of my grandmother. Right. And so, so my grandmother was a huge inspiration for the book, and she never got to realize her dreams to be a designer. She was she could design I make shirts. She makes gowns. I'm trying to get on her level. You know what I mean? But she never got to publish her own book. So I feel like, I was able to do that for her and for me. And okay, so anyway, she was left-handed. Getting back to the story. Yeah. She was, I feel like in both the Black community and in the Indigenous community, we talk in circles, okay? We're going to go on a journey.
I do too, okay? And
it makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, it just makes sense. Tell him.
If you can't, it's okay. Just don't judge us. But yeah, so she was left-handed, and back in the 50s, 60s, that was a huge deal. She couldn't even get a driver's license being left-handed. So anyway, my mom would always tell me how she would read magazines and books that, made sense, kind of similar to a magazine, from right to left. So she would open the book and literally start back here and go forward. So you know what I mean? If that feels good, if that feels less intimidating, or if that just feels, good to your soul, baby, do it. do what feels right.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I like that. She said, let the book hold you, okay? Let it hold you. Go pick you up one.
Yeah.
And you can hold it. Vice versa.
Yes.
But thank you so much. Okay. That is all I have for you in the questions. So, okay, y'all. I know y'all love to do stuff by yourself, for yourself. Okay. And especially, us being boss women like we are, we need to learn how to delegate. And that's where Fiverr comes in hand. Like, Fiverr has really saved me so much in this pushing of my pod production that I've been in. It really has helped me, just get some of the back end stuff handled. Because, baby, all I need to do is show up and look cute. And that's what Fiverr helps me do, okay? They have anybody that you need to help with your business. Like, anything. Like, you need an accountant, you need an assistant, you need a data collector, you need an organizer, you need a manager. Like, anything you want, you need help with, they got it, okay? Baby, and I'm gonna help you, get some stuff off your plate because you're looking a little stressed. So use the link, sign up, get a couple of dollars off your first job, okay? And help somebody else because they're helping you. So, yeah, get to work, sis. You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. That was off the shelf. So now, it's regular show still. So that's a fact. Okay, so today's fact is brought to you by www.gunviolencearchive.org, baby. Government. Okay, so this is official. So it has been reported since the beginning of 2023 that there has been 40 mass shootings. 40
in this year?
Yeah, 2023.
It's only been 25 days and so far today.
And when you see this, it's not even going to be 40 days into the whole year.
Right.
So it don't even matter how you flip it. 40.
Wow. And mass shooting. So that's for those who don't know.
Let me look it up. Shooting definition.
Like 6-10 people.
I think it's... why did I look this up? Mass shootings... 7 people?
Wow.
Yeah, individuals or greater.
Wow, so at least 280 people have already lost
killed
their lives.
Or injured. So that means killed or injured.
Still?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, here's the definition. A mass shooting is a crime in which an attacker kills or injures multiple individuals simultaneously using a firearm.
Wow.
So yeah.
In 25 days.
Yeah, 40.
That's atrocious.
This is America.
This is America.
But yeah, moving on to better news, okay? It is the flower ceremony. So,
yes.
Here, that just means shout out anybody that want to give love to, that's giving love to you. Just do your thing. Anybody
Absolutely.
that deserves that.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to shout out my mama. She's always supporting me, and helping me with my endeavors, whether it was undergrad or my book. I just want to say thank you for all your support and always believing in me. And we're going to make it. We're going to make it.
We're going to make it.
Okay. I want to shout out all my sisters, Des and Sasha were my role models growing up, just beauty and strength as well as my mom. I want to shout out my grandma, rest in power. She inspired a lot of this book and all my ancestors, as well as my sisters, my soul sisters. So shout out to Rocio, Morning Miss Soap. Thank you so much for everything. Shelly, I'm Caster, Soklar Star, my girl Cheyenne. I want to shout out, Taylor from Kabovi Herbals and Taya and Yoli and just everybody, Gaby, Cece, okay, for having me on today.
Of course,
and just always, supporting. And then for my book, I also wanted to shout out again my editor, Kelly Butterfly Smith, and Sharia Burnett, who allowed me to illustrate her. And she inspired the poem She is Afro-Indigenous, the second half. And shout out to Rock and her and Amina Jafar. They both provided reviews for my book. So those are found on the back of the book. And, thank you for being patient with me when I asked you for a review a few days before it was published, my first book. So I'll be better prepared next time. And who else helped me with this book? Shout out to the Arizona Commission on the Arts, Keisha Bruce and Anna Needham, for helping to fund my Seeds book release as well as my book publication. Yes. Anybody else, I love you. I got you. And shout out to my baby for always supporting me. Thank you for all the long, hard nights that you had to work just to support me in my dream. And one of the best moments of my life was seeing you with my book in your hands for the first time and you saying, wow, this looks so official and professional. And from a cap to a cap, that meant a lot. And shout out to my emotional support animal, Smokey Sage, my little kitty cat. So he helped me a lot, especially, through the tough times of writing the book. And after the book, I went through a postpartum phase. This is like my book baby. Yeah. And, just it was a lot of trauma and a lot of intergenerational trauma to process and to heal. So, you know, like they say, depressed, you need deep rest. So definitely a couple months after the book was published, I needed that deep rest, and he was there to cuddle me and just, you know, ground me and make sure I was okay. So shout out to Smokey Sage. Shout out to all the fur babies.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yes. And shout out to my nieces and nephews and who always inspire me, and just know that no matter how near and how far and how much time it's been since I've given you a hug, Auntie loves you forever. And I'll see you soon. So buy some Seeds books, y'all, so I can go see my nephews and my niece. I had 2 born since the pandemic. I haven't even met yet. They're babies. So yeah, support your local artists.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
trying
indeed.
to become national artists and international artists. Okay, I'm trying to become an international bestseller.
We international over here, baby.
Yes.
We get spun in Germany. If you don't know,
okay. Hi, Germany. What's up?
Sweden. Oh yeah, we international.
Yes.
Shout out to all them people. Okay, I will see you very soon. Okay, I'm getting out of America as soon as possible. Okay.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Actually, I just had a book. My last book was bought in Germany.
Okay,
so
love us
shout out
there.
Germany.
They do love it. Okay, maybe I'm coming for you. Okay,
to go visit.
Okay, yes you do. Yeah. But okay, I like how you started off, because definitely the first flowers that I'm giving out are to my parents. Okay, my dogs, my road dogs, my mom and my dad, Linda, my dad, my pops. I love you so much. To the fucking wheels fall off, to the moon, to the sun, to the stars, to the planets, to the 150,000 planets that there are, to the sun, to the sun. However you want to flip it, turn it. I love you. Thank you so much for everything that you have done for me. To this day, from the first day to the last day, don't even fucking matter. I love you. Everything that I do is for you. And just know, don't worry about it. I'm going to get it done for us, okay? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, okay? So, secondly, my second flowers goes also to, he's a father as well, but he's a single father, sadly. His name is Juan Lopez, and him and his girlfriend wife were pregnant, and she went into birth. Her name is Asia Washington. You may have heard her name. I don't know if you have. But she was pregnant, and she went in for a regular routine, giving birth, all that, and had an epidural and all that. And I guess with her epidural, things went just terribly wrong, went left. Wow. And I guess she started to make, complaints, not complaints, but just, hey, something is wrong, and flagging the nurse and stuff down. And I guess, she didn't get answered enough in time, or I don't know what happened, but it ended up in her not making it. And him being a single father, and he is a great father, because he is keeping Asia Washington's name alive, her mother alive. And the baby's name is Jasmine, I believe. Aww. Yeah, she's so beautiful. So shout outs to him, because even though that she passed, he is still keeping her name alive, and the baby does know her mom. So shout outs to him. He is also a minority man. They're from Brooklyn, so I don't know if he is black or if he is. I don't know what the picture was giving. I'm not gonna identify this man. But he's
maybe Afro-Indigenous.
Okay, but a man that you don't think would take care of his father is taking care of his father. That's bottom line.
What society says.
So exactly what society. Okay, and this man deserves all the flowers that he's getting. So shout outs to him. Shout outs to her too. I'm so sorry, Angel. On R.I.P.
Yes.
So, without further ado, if you'd like to read us a poem,
absolutely,
that'd be great to end us out with.
Yes.
I'm excited to hear it, because I love poems from the author, in person. It's just it's a better experience. It just goes together, okay? And it's exclusive, okay? Who got poems getting read to them?
You. You listening, okay? Yes. And then speaking of the city, speaking of Brooklyn, right? You said they were from Brooklyn. That's the poem I'm going to choose to read tonight. It's called Remembering. And it's in honor of the Lenape, Rockaway, Carnegie people and Shinnecock Nation, who faced genocide and whose land was stolen to build New York City, and to all the reconnecting urban Native Americans and Afro-Indigenous people who call the city home. This is Remembering, as we remember her. In the city that never sleeps lies dormant a piece of history that most refuse to see. They are blinded by racism, blinded by stereotype, blinded by violence, blinded by colonial lies, blinded by indifference. They cannot see us beneath copper or mocha skin, beneath box braids and soft curls, beneath broad noses and wide hips, beneath hip hop and soul, Their white colonial eye has now caused our own to go blind. We are blind to our own culture. We are blind to our own heritage. We are mute in our own languages. We are deaf to our own heartbeat, which resounds like ancestral drums. We've forgotten our own names. We've forgotten our own great-grandmothers. We've forgotten the land. We've forgotten the dolphins, which once swam upon these shores. Yes, these shores. We begin to remember, and some laugh at us. We begin to remember, and our people mock us. You're not an Indian. You can't be an Indian. You aren't wearing buckskin or feathers. Your skin is too dark. Your face is too wide. You just a nigga. But as painful as it is at first to remember that you're not alone. For we are remembering too.
And remember, okay, I like that.
Thank you, Biwa.
Okay. But remember this, baby. We always gonna be on top no matter how you flip it, turn it. Okay. And you are too, baby. Ma'am. Stay on top. Look on top.
Always.
Tell them where you at. Tell them where they can find you. Plug yourself. This is
absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and what's the other one?
Oh, I'll drop your handles too. They'll definitely be in the description.
So D-Day Hunter. Make sure you put an E at the end of that D, okay? Or D-Day. So DDAYE. HUNTER. Okay, it's going to be linked. And then I'm also at D-Day Hunter Designs on the same platform. So D-Day Hunter is my poetry and my writing platform. And then D-Day Hunter Designs is my streetwear performance. I'm focusing on my book this year. So you can buy my book at ddayhunter.com. And you can also reach out to me at ddayhunter.com under storytellings and services for workshops, seminars, lectures, speaking engagements, and the like. So yeah, I even help people ghostwrite if that's what you want to do. Especially I've had a lot of people, get in touch with me about writing their own family's history in a creative way. So yeah, reach out.
Dope. Okay. Hit her up. Okay.
Yeah.
But we've been getting some action. So bye, sis.
Peace.
Bye.
Be blessed. Always.